So the team, the technology. Now we have protected our IP. We have a lawyer backing us up, and now we want to go out and market our product, market our startup. Let the world know that our startup is out there and about our product. So I have a question for Shel. Shel, this way we have a background in PR, so that's definitely what we're talking about. But in Silicon Valley, there's a lot of innovation also around ways to market companies and ways to leverage new technologies and new ways to communicate to that end. So one of them is social media, the emergence of social media. So for us, it's interesting to understand what your ideas are about how social media can help an Italian startup, for example, reach global audiences.
I would correct one thing, that there are no new ways to communicate. There are new tools for communicating. A lot of times when I speak, I talk about two guys at a backyard fence just having a conversation, and over time trust builds up, and over time one neighbor tells a third neighbor to trust someone for movies or restaurants, but don't trust them about what car to drive because they don't know about that. For the first time in history, that ability to have conversations has gone from the backyard fence to the rich ecosystem of Silicon Valley to a global perspective. The world has not become as flat as one book claimed it would be, but it's become a lot hillier. The chasms between places are becoming less deep. And I would argue that social media is one of the ways that that's occurring. For an Italian startup, it also means that there is an affordable way to speak to the American market, which is a very lucrative market. For a startup in Italy, it also means that you can use the internet to cut the costs and problems of business development, technology, marketing, communications, and PR, from which I come. What has been interesting to me in the last few months is I've been working for a company that's hardly a startup. SAP has asked me to do a global project on the issue of technology and culture. Basically, they asked me to go out and ask the world what's happening with social media in their areas. One of the things that I think is interesting in regard to this panel is that almost all over the world, children are being taught English through Ukraine, Poland, and China. They're being taught English not through a great love for America one way or another, but because we're where the money is. The American market is the richest, the most lucrative, and by learning English and using social media, there's now access to the market, which is a lot more efficient than prior approaches.
Very good. So let's elaborate a little bit on increase the complexity a little bit. The ecosystem here includes, of course, investors, startups, legal counsel, marketing, communications, but also other types of entities that carve out a space at a different time in a company's history. And I'm talking about incubators and accelerators. So the question for Hanson, who runs one, is what is the business model of an accelerator versus an incubator? How do they compare?
Well, I think the term incubator means different things to different people. But if you ask a lot of people, probably the most common answer you'll get is that an incubator is a space where people can come and develop their ideas, and there'll be some cubicles and phones and a copier and maybe some accounting help and some of the fundamentals people need as they're trying to get a business started. And that can be very helpful and useful to entrepreneurs who really know what they want to do and just need the logistics taken care of. Our model is very different. It's been called an accelerator. And we have a space with a machine shop and an R&D lab and so on, but we don't let random groups come in and use the space. We look ourselves at a lot of different critical needs, invent new solutions, look at new ideas coming from others, and pick very few of those, say one a year, and our little team at the Foundry becomes that company. Myself or one of my partners will become the Foundry CEO, and we will do everything that needs to be done to grow the business, as you said, set up the corporate structure, an intensive effort on the IP front, because there's no time like the very beginning to lock in the best possible IP positions. Initial prototyping, clinical trials, and so on. Basically, at the earliest stage of a company, when you're out trying to raise money, you realize that there are an awful lot of other people who want money, and VCs don't just want a person with an idea, they want the whole package. They want a rock-solid management team, they want as much proof of concept and as much potential upside. So that's where we focus, is on, very simply, reducing risk and building value. Our team, I can't speak for myself, but I've been fortunate to surround myself with people who have really proven themselves as very successful in starting new medical device companies. And so we take that team issue off the table. After a year or two, we've brought a company far enough along ourselves that we can attract really great experienced people to come lead that company. It's really one of the hardest things for a raw startup, is to attract a really fantastic CEO when other people are offering that CEO position that in a company that, at least hypothetically, is going to go public next month. So that's really what we do as an accelerator. There are a lot of ways to set that up. Our current business model is actually to form a new company, a blank company really, and latest one is Foundry Nuclear 10, and get VCs to invest in that company, and then we figure out together what that company is going to be. That model works because we've built up a level of trust, and it works very well because it focuses everyone on making that single one company as successful as possible, and really builds a strong community very quickly. So that's a brief introduction to how it works.
Very helpful, very clear. And
Yeah.
It's a very hands-on approach, very operative. With a flowing of resources, sort of almost like flowing of resources and management and expertise inside and out of the company in a very fluid way at different stages of the company. And actually, I think it's very typical of Silicon Valley to have this ability of quickly change a team or morph a team over time as needs change. So that's very typical of here. So maybe it's interesting to hear from Stefano in Italy whether maybe that's one of the missing ingredients